Welcome back everybody to this studio. I want to talk about today something that I actually didn't start doing with my watercolors until just recently, and I've been doing watercolors for the last 12 years, ever since I was in college, and I can't believe it's been that long. So let's dive in and let me tell you a little secret that I just recently learned: how to make your watercolors have more depth. Okay, so for my example today, I sketched in really fast an orange with a few leaves so that I can show you what I mean by doing an underpainting using complementary colors. So what I'm gonna do is, obviously our orange is gonna be orange, but we're gonna, before we start painting our orange on top, we're gonna paint orange's complementary color, which is blue, underneath. And especially we're gonna paint blue on the spots that are gonna be more in shadow. And so I'm gonna show you what I mean, and I'm gonna get some water on my paintbrush and grab some blue. And this layer I'm not gonna do super dark, so in order to not have the blue be too dark, I'm gonna make sure I have more water in my mixture and less pigment, less paint. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, the way I'm gonna kind of paint this is as if the sun is coming this direction. So that kind of shows me that over here is gonna be more my lighter area. So I'm not gonna put any blue over there, but as I get further away from where my light is hitting, I'm gonna put some blue down in here. I'm even gonna rinse off my brush, grab my paper towel, and also come back and just kind of slightly blend this in. And so I have just a little bit of water on my brush, and I'm just kind of moving that paint around and letting it get a little bit closer over to where our highlighted area is, but very, very light. Okay, so now already we have this nice shadow underneath, and we're gonna let that dry, and we're gonna kind of do the same thing with our leaves right now. So with this, we have to let the layers dry in between. We can't do wet into wet, so I can't go and grab my orange right now and start putting that on top of the blue, because then we're just gonna make like a grayish brown muddy color. So we're gonna let that dry, and our leaves are typically gonna be some form of a green, right? And so green's complementary color is red. So I'm gonna come and grab a little bit of red, and we're gonna do the same thing, is kind of just put a little underpainting layer of this red onto our leaves. Again, I'm rinsing out my brush, gonna kind of dab it off and then come back and pull some of this off. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna come grab my 1/2" wash brush and just kind of come in and put the stem in here. Or not the stem, it's like the tree branch. And I'm gonna kind of just mix up, use some red and a little bit of green too, because I'm gonna try and make just kind of like a brown. Maybe add a little blue into there. So I love using a 1/2" wash brush for doing that stem, because it has a nice kind of tip to it. And this is a Princeton Velvet Touch, and I got this off of Blick. So that's kind of a nice brush if you're needing something to kind of just do like a nice straight skinny line. I like using that brush. Okay, I'm gonna come back and check to see if my blue is dry, which it's almost there. I think I'm just gonna use a little piece of paper real fast, give it one last kind of dry. Okay, now that that's good, I can come back and start putting on my actual color, which is orange for our orange. And we're gonna see how this layer underneath kind of will show through and really help with those shadows. So I'm gonna kind of keep right now a little bit more water again on my brush versus having the paint. I'm gonna have it be a little bit lighter so that that under layer shows through. Okay, I'm gonna rinse out my brush. Okay, and now already we're getting this nice dimension in our orange because we have a nice dark side and then we also have our light side right now. So now we can kind of start layering this up even a little bit more. And so what I'm gonna do is, again, this is more in a shadowed side, and so I'm gonna kind of mix into my orange a little bit of like red, a touch of blue, because we want this to be a darker orange. And so to get a bit more like a rust orange, I'm kind of adding that red and a little bit of blue to kind of darken it up. Yeah, there we go. I'm gonna add a little more orange into it. Okay, I'm gonna rinse out my brush. While this is still wet, I'm gonna grab just some orange. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry for a little bit. I'm gonna come and do our leaves right now, and so same process. I'm gonna grab my green, mix up my green, and start layering that on top of our nice red we have on here. Let this dry, and then we're gonna do another layer on top of the leaves and on top of our orange. Okay, so I'm gonna come in and get a little bit darker with another pass on top of my orange. And so I'm actually gonna use a little bit of yellow this time in my orange because I wanna have this spot be pretty bright up here. This layer, I'm adding a little bit more red to my orange. gonna call that good today. Like I always say, I probably could keep going and going and going, but gonna resist the urge and call it done. And notice now that you can really see still underneath your beginning layer of having that complementary color underneath to create your shadows. So, you know, this starts to really look more three-dimensional and really pop because we have this beautiful light area with the beautiful dark areas. And so you have this nice contrast of having the very light lights with your very dark darks. And so anytime you can pull that into your paintings by having a nice wide range of values, your painting is gonna look more realistic and just really start to pop more too. And so, you know, it's hard to achieve that really dark shadows underneath without doing the underpainting beforehand. And so I've tried it and I've really loved this new way of using the complementary colors and doing an underpainting underneath and then going over on top. And even, you know, in our leaves you can slightly still see the red, and it's just, you get all of these beautiful colors because you start layering on top of each other and not just using orange when you're painting an orange. We got blue in there, we mixed a little bit of our red in there, and so you kind of start to pull in other colors as well, which again, the more you can mix your colors and not just use colors straight out of the palette will also help your painting look more realistic. So I hope you guys had fun and let me know what you'd like to see next.